burden I must bear, while the cruel scourge I fear on the land of Virginia, Virginia, and
the exhibition here is an exhibition in 4 rooms. It's a choreography, if you like. I think of it as a route that one is taken on, but all the time you're experiencing this extraordinary lament. It fills the space.
With a bitter, bitter tea.
So this is the way we enter the Palazzo Fontana, and this is the first work that's in here, which is the bronze rope tree. All the work I've made for the exhibition here is completely new. The palazzo itself is Venice. It's part of Venice, it's part of Venice's history. So some of the themes that I was looking at, I think, fitted the context of what this palazzo is and what Venice is about. So the rope, both as a tool and both as a kind of architectural symbol, is quite pertinent to places like Venice. And here it is in a kind of natural form, so maybe not in a man-made architectural form, but maybe in the form or in the shape that it might take in nature. Although there's a kind of man-made twist to it, in that you've got that kind of noose shape happening there.
Graham always is working on a set of ideas that evolve and develop throughout, or has done throughout his career. So this isn't a new idea, a new show, something that sort of has come out of the ether. It brings with it all sorts of sensibilities and ideas that he's been working with over a long time. I'm sitting behind this tree, which isn't actually a tree, it's actually the cast of a rope, which looks like a tree. So playing with all those ideas of what something is, what its material is, that it's made out of bronze, and yet it is the cast of an organic material. So to begin the show with that very strong sculpture is a very important first experience for the audience.
In this room, there's 19 framed drawings, and these drawings of teeth are done using my tongue. So I'd use my tongue and a piece of paper and a pencil, and I would feel my teeth with my tongue, and I would draw what I was feeling. And then I would use Indian ink to try and show the space, the physical space where I understand these teeth to be. But I would also try and use the Indian ink to show that mental space, to show that awareness of how and where I understand my consciousness to be. So in this room we've got three-dimensional development of the two-dimensional work that we were seeing next door. And I suppose these sculptures are quite primary. It's me squeezing clay onto my teeth, it's me squeezing clay onto my face. And then these other structures are really simple. It's me, if you get a bit of clay and you squeeze it, that's the sort of shape and form that you get.
I think it's very important that Scotland has a presence within the Venice Biennale. The British Pavilion always puts on excellent exhibitions, exciting exhibitions, and we really look forward to Sarah Lucas this year. But Scotland has a community of artists and a history of contemporary art that is really distinctive. The history of the art schools, the history of critical debate and exchange has created a community and a history, an art history of its own. So therefore, we feel that the context of Venice is big enough and ambitious enough for us to suggest that it's really important to bring a Scottish artist here and for their work to be seen within that context.
My experience in Venice for making the exhibition for Scotland in Venice has been fantastic. It's been great to have that type of support for your art practice. So as an artist, to have that support structure behind you and that opportunity to make very ambitious works, and also that opportunity to collaborate with other artists. It's been a fantastic opportunity, and it wouldn't have been possible without the support that Scotland and Venice offers. Yeah, so in this room we've got The Slave's Lament. This work is a collaboration between myself, the composer Sally Beamish, and the music producer Adrian Sherwood. Burns first published that song in 1792, and I made a version of that song in 2005. And when I was back in Venice looking at venues, there was lots of imagery that I kept coming across, lots of blackamoor imagery. And so that history of trade, that history of Venice being a kind of hub from Africa to Europe, I was reminded of that when I was back here looking closely at Venice and thinking about venue to show in. And it made me think about the work I had done before with Robert Burns's song, The Slave's Lament. And I'd been asked a few times if I would maybe do more work with that song, and I'd never felt the need to, but that song came back into my thoughts after being back in Venice and thinking about what Venice is.
The burden I must bear, while the cruel scourge I fear, on the land of Virginia, ho. And I think of friends most dear, with a bitter, bitter tear. And alas, I am weary, weary, oh. And I think on friends most dear, with a bitter, bitter tear.